play down here in Tennessee. We don't need y'all to talk about us because we're going to talk about ourselves. Told y'all.
Okay. All right. Who was panicking? Was anybody panicking? I don't know.
Not me, Justin. Certainly not us.
Yeah, I guess not. We might need to delete the last video. I don't know what kind of comments I made, but so okay. I don't know, Jake. I just don't get it. First of all, welcome back to Titans Tube again for our weekly Monday show, recapping the game, previewing briefly the game to be had the following Sunday. I'm Justin. This is Jake. We're going to talk about this game. So it's 27-3, and I had to do a double take because that was the score last week, except we were on the 3 side. This week, we're on the 27 side. I don't get it, Jake. Can you please help explain to me the NFL when we think we kind of know these teams? I mean, we're 4 games in. That's a decent sample size. That's about a quarter of the way through the season. Titans now sitting at 2-2. But I don't know. What is it with the NFL, Jake? Is it scripted? Is it the score thing is bizarre, but how a team can look so dead and just need a complete and total rebuild to what we saw on Sunday. And it's like, okay, well, maybe we do have something. Maybe we do have something that we can play for this year. This team's bouncing back again. And I guess we shouldn't be surprised because this is Mike Vrabel-led team. This is his hallmark. We're going to punch back when our backs are against the wall. Who knows what kind of team we're going to see on Sunday. I don't understand this team. I'm just as confused as I've ever been watching a Tennessee Titans game. But this version is with great pleasure watching this team. So what can you make sense of this, Jake? What's with the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs here with specifically the Titans, but really the NFL?
I mean, you kind of alluded to it through 4 games, Justin. We've learned exactly nothing about the 2023 Tennessee Titans other than, life is like a box of chocolates, Justin. You never quite know what you're going to get. And that is par for the course in the Mike Vrabel era, frankly. Every time you think they're dead, they come back. And every time you think they're going to contend, they die again. And they get revived, and they die, and they revive and die. And it's this wishy-washy thing that makes the NFL so great and also so frustrating and impossible to predict. And this is where we're at with this Tennessee Titans squad. I mean, look at the AFC South, Justin. Everybody is 2-2. Who had that on their bingo card coming into the year? Nobody. And so it's going to be an interesting season. It's going to be a week-by-week team, just like they always have been, Justin. Yeah. And, like you said, at least this is the week of great pleasure because wow, needed that win for overall morale for me and you and the fan base. And needed that win for overall morale with, I think, this locker room and this team needed to see one go through the uprights, so to speak, like that. And really positive thing to see. Tim Kelly called a beautiful game again. The ball was spread around beautifully to everybody. I feel like whenever the Titans get these signature wins, I always read down the stat sheet, and it's exactly how you picture it to be when you build this roster. DeAndre Hopkins, 4 catches, 63 yards. Nick Westbrook-Akina, 5 catches for 51. And of course, he snakes that touchdown. He always catches the touchdown.
Of course.
Chris Moore gets his signature 1 catch for 44 yards. Chigakonkwo, 3 for 29. Josh Wiley, 2 for 26 and a touchdown. Tajay Spears, 3 for 18. Derrick Henry, 1 for 11. And that's just the passing stats. Derrick Henry returned to form, Justin. 22 carries, 122 yards, 5.5 a clip, and 1 touchdown and 1 throwing touchdown, Justin. It was beautiful to see the King back in doing what the King does. And I may have not said it on the video last week, Justin, but if this team came out flat again against a hobbling Joe Burrow and a struggling Cincinnati Bengals, and they were 1-3 and they looked bad 2 weeks in a row, I was ready for the blow it up button. I was ready to reach for it and hit it because this is the last dance. This is the last dance for Tannehill Henry Titans. And
but now you're reaching for the Super Bowl button? Is it Super Bowl button pressing time?
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far. Let's just get to the dance and we'll see what happens from there. But I'm definitely reaching for the season is back on button. Where the optimism is back. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I was just worried if this was a sinking ship that if you're going to blow it up anyways after 2023, you might as well blow it up now if they're going to be 1-3, 1-4, because 2 tough games coming up after this. But it remains to be seen what this Titans team will accomplish down the line, Justin. But wow, it was beautiful to see Tannehill be efficient yesterday, Derrick Henry be back to his old self, and just the way they spread the ball around on offense was a sight to see.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so bizarre, and kind of reiterating some of what you said too, as far as the stats go, and as much as we were dominated last week, we completely dominated this week in this Bengals team. And I read some comments from our video last week, and we don't talk about kind of the opposition enough and giving credit where credit's due. And yes, Cleveland played a fantastic game as well against us and executed perfectly. And for the Bengals this week, obviously Joe Burrow is hobbled, and they've got a big issue there because he did seem like limited in terms of his escapability. So that kind of eliminated a dimension for them that they're used to having with their big top dollar franchise quarterback. So a lot of debate, should they shut him down the next couple weeks to get him healthy? I don't know, but they're definitely in a reeling state as well. But this team has been one of the faces or the classes of the AFC for the past few years, especially with Burrow. They're turning that franchise around. And so I don't think they're like a 27-3 bad team, just like how the Titans are not a 23-7 bad team. But still, this was a game that the Titans definitely needed to have. Just the absolute domination from the team stats as well. I wanted to point out too, first of all, total yards, 211 for Cincinnati, which is better than our 94 from last week. But our defense shut them down in a big way. Their only 3 points came from the opening drive where they got a chip shot field goal. And the Titans rebounded with 400 total yards on the dot. And something I do want to note is the third down efficiency and conversion. Titans went 8 for 13, extending drives, keeping possession of the ball, keeping Joe Burrow off the field. Cincinnati went 2 for 9. We almost had as many third down conversions as they had attempts. So just an outstanding job by the defense to bring this team, back to 2-2. But I don't know. It was just a very dominant game. It's kind of funny. I texted you and it was 27 or 24-3, and I was like, "Could we see 30 points?" And I was feeling pretty good about it.
You ruined it. You jinxed it. You jinxed us big, Justin.
I
knew it. I even said it in the moment. I said you just had to say something, and of course the Titans ended with a 27 on the scoreboard. So the hunt for 30 points continues, Justin. It is a long road. It's well over 16, 17 games now. But you brought up third down conversions, Justin, which I thought was a big point of emphasis on this game yesterday, and it's something I want to point out about the Titans' biggest acquisition of the offseason, DeAndre Hopkins. We have talked a lot about whether, is he Julio Jones 2.0? Will he produce more than Julio? Will he, et cetera, et cetera? Does he have any in the tank left? And Justin, I know we don't know much about the Titans team 4 games in, but 4 games in, I do know that DeAndre Hopkins has a lot more left in the tank than Julio Jones ever did, suiting up in the two-tone blue. You mentioned third down. DeAndre Hopkins was probably brought in here to be that third down threat. He's not going to take the top off or anything. He's a little old for that, but he's a great route runner. We've talked about it in prior videos. He's going to find the soft spots. He's going to sit down and he's going to catch first down balls. He had 3 catches on third down yesterday, Justin, all of which went for a first down. He
Perfect.
is tied in the AFC for the most this season. He has 8 catches on third down that have gone for first downs. And when you think about how pitiful the Titans have looked in 2 offensive performances, and then he has 8 of these, I don't know it's a specific stat, but 8 of these specific catches, it's really encouraging to see DeAndre Hopkins do what you brought him here to do. And I think that is very encouraging for this offense, and reflects very well on Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel seeing and identifying that Hopkins does have a little bit left in the tank. And he went on a double move go ball on Sunday where he looked spry. He looked, like that ankle wasn't, I'm obviously, knock on wood, not trying to jinx anything, but I know. You said we're going to score 30 and I said D Hop is looking good. So we'll trade off jinx.
Okay. Yeah. But dude, I love it. That's a great stat too, by the way. I was not aware of his 8 catches on third down going for first downs so far through 4 games. That's exactly what we need in this offense. Because our strength, obviously, I feel like is still the defense, starting with that front line. And so we need to keep them off the field and rested and stop throwing them out onto the field. And after going 3 and out after 3 and out. But man, and two, with this offense, you mentioned Tim Kelly. I thought he dialed up a great game. I was pretty hard on him, I think, against the Browns because nothing was working. We couldn't protect Tannehill, any of that. But when the players can execute the game plan, I think he can call a pretty good game. I mean, we were scheming receivers open, not just DeAndre Hopkins. And there was a play with Nick Westbrook-Ikhine where he was running a slant across the middle. I can't remember at what point in the game this was, but there wasn't even like a defender in the frame, it felt like. He had to go a little low and catch it on the ground. But, I mean, he almost had time to get up and pick up more yardage. But, scheming guys open. We haven't really been used to this. We've struggled with that a little bit this year. And we know DeAndre Hopkins can find a way to get open anyway. But you've got to, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, you got to scheme guys like him a little bit to get open who are a little bit more limited physically. But while I'm on the Nick Westbrook-Ikhine train right now, I think it's time. Maybe we already have, but it's time to give this man his flowers and what he's contributed to this team. Good. It's good because I feel like in social media, he kind of gets clowned and memed on because, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, wide receiver 1. Here we go, Titans. Way to build this roster. Using a guy like him to start. This is not a starting receiver. Maybe not. Maybe at best he's a wide receiver 3. But, that's not his fault. I mean, he's playing above his ability or however you say it. He's playing above of what, you're expecting of him year in and year out. And it's not his fault that these receivers keep getting recycled through. You think about Robert Woods and Josh Reynolds and Julio Jones and all these other guys we're trying to bring in and get shipped off. And yet still Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is here because he knows the offense. He knows how to execute. He can block. You can plug him in and then he can play. And he catches the ball when you throw it to him. And he's a smart player. It's good to have a guy like him on this offense. No, you don't want to see him as wide receiver 2, but man, he's delivering for us this year. He's having a career year. I mean, 5 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown is a fabulous day for a guy like Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, and he's already found the end zone. He might lead our team in receiving touchdowns because I know he has one already. But it is so nice to have a guy like Nick Westbrook. I think he's our longest tenured wide receiver on this roster. So that's a great find. I don't know. It might have been a J-Rob era undrafted guy who came in, but he's been a positive force for this offense. I don't know about force, let's not get crazy, but he's a very valuable piece to have. And he's, what? I also didn't mention this. He stays healthy. He's available.
I was going to say that. And when you ended your point, Justin, I said yes. And I'll give him an extra bouquet of flowers because he's on the field every Sunday. You can count on him to be there. And like you said, when you throw to him, he's, 9 times out of 10, sure-handed. I'm going to knock on wood again, Justin. I feel like we're going to jinx guys left and right in this episode.
Probably. We do.
But I couldn't agree more. I shout out Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. He has done so much for this team. He's been a consistent force with this. Again, there we go, using the F word again, Justin. Force. You know what? F it. He is a force. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is a force to be dealt with. Look out. Yes. Indianapolis. Look out, Baltimore, because NWI is coming.
Beaming up. How do we slow down Nick Westbrook-Ikhine? How do we slow down this powerhouse here?
But I very much agree with you, man. I mean, this was a total team effort. Everything came together. I read the stat sheet at the top of the episode. It was beautiful. It was a sight to be seen. And man, I mean, as a guy who lives in the Bengals market, Justin, the past 3 years have been constant hell, frankly. And getting the Joe Burrow monkey off our back was huge for me personally, living in Cincinnati territory, and just overall morale. This was a big win for me and for, I feel like, fans everywhere. It was a big one.
And probably the Titans as a team as well. I mean, those wounds are still kind of fresh from these losses we've been taking to them the past 3 years. I feel like this game meant more to the Titans than Cincinnati. Honestly, as far as getting that monkey off our back and getting past this Cincinnati Bengal team who's had our number and ruined a perfectly promising season in the playoffs for us 2 years ago. So you love to see it. I want to go to Derrick Henry. I think the commentator called it in his touchdown run, but dude, vintage sighting of Derrick Henry breaking tackles and stiff arming his way to the end zone. And not just a vintage Derrick Henry run there, but a vintage Derrick Henry throw for a touchdown. A lot of people are making making out the point that, I noticed it too from the stands. We had lined up, ready to run a play. Big Jeff comes in. He runs out, to the right side of the line, and then the Bengals call a timeout. And then what do you know? They stick with the game plan or the play call and run the exact same thing. And so I don't know if it's kind of funny or is it reckless? Like if you think Cincinnati has a idea, I don't know. But we got the Derrick Henry TD pass and Josh Wiley's first NFL touchdown reception. It was a great play. I mean, this felt like the 2019 Titans running these plays and Derrick Henry dominating again.
I loved it. When they first came out to go for that 3rd and goal, I was having, flashbacks to week 3, Justin, where the Titans found themselves in the same exact situation. It's 3rd and goal right before the half. They don't have any timeouts. There's 10 or less seconds on the clock, and Ryan Tannehill took a sack in week 3 in Cleveland, and the Titans came away with no points. I know the Titans had a lead at this point in the game. It was 17-3. But you really wanted to come out with points there, especially because Tennessee was getting the ball out of halftime. Mm-hmm. And when they lined up in the Wildcat, Justin, I said, I don't like this. If you're going to run it, just put Big Jeff at fullback and run it up the middle. If that's what you're going to do. And so obviously Cincinnati calls a timeout, and they came out again. I loved it. I loved sticking to the guns there. Obviously it worked. If it didn't work, I would have said it was the stupidest play call Tim Kelly's had all year. But sticking to the guns, I loved it. And Justin, I have a statistic here. If Derrick Henry throws a pass, call it. The game's over. The Titans have won. If Derrick Henry rears back and throws a pass, the Titans are 7-0, 6-0 in the regular season, 1-0, the famous game in Baltimore, 7-0 all time when Derrick Henry throws a pass in a football game. He's got 4 touchdowns now in his career. And I love this little wrinkle to the Derrick Henry legacy. It's just a lot of fun. And especially when he goes and does it, I feel like the first time we saw it was the Baltimore game, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I can't think of the time before then, but it just brings up all the warm and fuzzies of the first time seeing Derrick Henry, because he runs into the back of the line every play. And usually on the Wildcat, up until that point, it was Derrick Henry up the middle, Derrick Henry up the middle, Derrick Henry up the middle. And just that little wrinkle is beautiful. And I don't know why teams haven't gotten wise to it.
I was about to say, like, how many more of that play do we have left in the tank? Because teams are going to be like, he's almost probably going to throw 50%. I mean, we got to cover these tight ends getting free out here. But man, it's crazy. I love, you said it's like a little wrinkle that Derrick, this extra dimension he's kind of built up over his career. I'm immediately reminded of Mike Vrabel's 5 or 6 receptions for 5 or 6 touchdowns or something like that. And some of them have been in the playoffs and Super Bowl. So really cool to see that be added in to the offense. It's still something you have to account for. So I don't know. Yeah. QB1. It's time for him to step up and take Ryan Tannehill's job. But speaking of that play, I think that sequence was the biggest part of the game because we extended the lead 24-3, and that was at the very end of the half. Opening the third quarter, we get the kickoff. Jake, what does this offense do but go 10 on a 10-minute and 20-something second drive? We only got a field goal out of it, but dude, we drained like almost an entire quarter out of that.
It was huge.
Got help a little bit from the Bengals defense. I think they had a roughing the passer call on a 3rd and long, so obviously that's a backbreaker. But converting on first downs as we marched down the field, it was just a soul crusher. Probably seeing the Bengals watching that take place, and even though it was just a field goal, I mean that's when you're up by that much. I mean that what better thing can you do but just to let the game just slip away? And there's not by the time they got the ball back, there wasn't really enough time left to have any answers. The Titans didn't let him answer. So I thought that was the biggest, sequence of the game, that Derrick Henry touchdown pass and opening up the third quarter with a 10-minute drive. Just perfect, beautifully executed. It was almost like, did you feel relaxed? Did you ever feel like the Bengals were coming back?
It's the first time all season. All season I felt relaxed watching a Titans game. And yeah, just I'm very happy you brought up that 10-minute drive. It was huge. I mean, I don't care if Joe Burrow's got a bum calf. I mean, I don't care if you're up 24-3. I mean, bleeding the clock like that is the recipe for Titans victory, and it has been in the Derrick Henry era. You get up. The Titans aren't the greatest at playing from behind. They can in some instances, but they, obviously you'd rather play from a lead, especially when you have Derrick Henry back there as your biggest offensive weapon. So seeing them bleed that clock like that was great. The roughing the passer call on Tannehill was bad. I don't know what you want me to say. It was soft. It was weak. It was not the greatest call in the world. But hey, the Titans have had plenty of calls in the past few years go against us. So, if they want to give one out, I'll take it. Sure, whatever.
Exactly.
But I guess, we can talk a little bit about the Joe Burrow situation, Justin. I would be amiss as a Titans fan to not bring up the Titans' 2 wins this season are against teams that I don't think are all that great this season. I know the Bengals are good.
Chargers, we'll see. They're showing life.
The Chargers are gonna Charger, though. Like they're always gonna blow those late
I get
games.
What you mean.
Yeah. The fact that you know exactly what I mean says it all. And then also Joe Burrow is not Joe Burrow right now. I mean, as a guy, again, lives in the Cincy market, I watch a lot of Bengals games. Joe Burrow is not Joe Burrow right now. And it was obvious yesterday, and it's been obvious all season. I mean, Justin, I don't think he threw a pass more than 10 yards yesterday, maybe one, and it was an incompletion. Yeah. I mean, the Bengals offense is anemic.
Yeah, did he even leave the pocket? Was he able to escape the pocket even one time? It seemed like he was a statue back there. So yeah, so immobile. So I don't know. Yeah, Bengals got to be careful of how they move forward, and if they want to try to make something of this season, or if they need to rest their $200 million whatever guy. Because I'm a Burrow. I mean, how can you not be? Like, he's put up enough football to show you, yes, this is the franchise quarterback, and you need to keep him for sure. It's kind of rough, tough sledding right now for Bengals and what to do and what the answers are going to be. But yeah, I mean, even outside of him, it seems like they've regressed a little bit, even on the defensive side of the ball. I think, 27, that's the most points as down as we've been about this offense all year. 27 is more than we scored against them in, I think, any of our matchups, as far as the Joe Burrow-led teams go. So a little regression here and there, but, it's still early in the season. So maybe they can salvage something, or maybe they're going to look forward into future years. But yeah, I mean, Titans now 2-2 though. That's what we wanted. You said at some point through 4 games, let's get to 2-2. If we got to the bye week at 3-3 and kind of looked around at the division and see, where do we stand, that we would take that. As we figure out a lot of these new pieces on this team. And speaking of which, we might be getting some pieces back that could definitely help us. We'll see if Skoronski is able to go. That would be a huge help to this offensive line, because I think Andre Dillard, from what I've read, I don't watch Andre Dillard every single snap when you're watching the game, but apparently he had a pretty rough game again too. So getting Skronsky back will help. I don't know if you are ready to shuffle anything around there. We'll see if we can get Traylon Burks back. I think Kyle Phillips is eligible to come back off IR this
Nicholas
week.
Petit-Ferrer, Justin, got his suspension reduced by 2 games. I think he should be eligible to play this week, but it remains to be seen.
Which, I mean, I don't know. He's fairly average, I guess, last year as a rookie. So hopefully he's improved a little bit. So, I mean, it would only at least they'll add depth or give us options if we have a player that really is out there struggling. Kind of, it was Xavier Newman, who was struggling against, I think, the Chargers. And then we had Radens to plug in there, and he did a lot better. So it'll just help, adding some more depth and some more pieces because, we're going to go down with some injuries. That's just the Titans move right here. But so far, so good on the injury front. I mean, we're getting people back. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Knock on wood. Man,
we're jinxing everywhere, Justin. This is bad. This is bad.
This is a bad video. We're getting too excited,
Yeah. How can we not be after getting the Bengals black cloud over our heads? I mean, it's been a while, Justin. And it's okay to get excited. And I'm not trying to poo-poo the Titans' first 2 wins this season either by saying they're not cream of the crop competition. And I don't know if you want to take that opportunity to look ahead to next week. Huge divisional road game against the Indianapolis Colts, Justin, who are better than people thought that they would be. And Jonathan Taylor is available to be activated for PUP. The early reports are saying he's going to practice this week with a chance to play on Sunday.
I did not know that.
Don't sleep on rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson and the Indianapolis Colts. They just had a great comeback. They didn't win that game against the Los Angeles Rams, but Richardson brought them back out of a big hole, and I think that dude is a gamer. And, this is a team not to be taken lightly, and if the Titans can open division play with a win, get to 3-2, I mean, you're heading into London with more excitement, more confidence, Justin. It's okay. I feel like as Titans fans, we're scared to be confident. And because when you're confident, that's when things go bad. And when you feel terrible, that's when things go well. So it's going to be a definitely big matchup coming up week 5 in Indy.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Just a big game. But, man, the Titans do buy themselves a little breathing room, with this win. I mean, I would think the season would be on the line against Indianapolis if the Titans weren't able to win the Cincinnati game. And so we'll see, man. We'll see what we got with the Colts coming up. Yeah, Richardson does scare you. It's interesting, though. Gardner Minshew came in and won them a game in Baltimore. And if I can find their schedule, he might have been let's see. They've already played Jacksonville and the Texans, and they dropped one of those games. I can't remember exactly. But I don't know. Yeah, Anthony Richardson looks like a great talent. Looks like he's going to be a good quarterback, but he's still, not fully polished and probably prone to some mistakes. I mean, he's only played 2 games, I think. And so hopefully, not Tim Kelly. I always forget the defensive coordinator's name. Shane Bowen. He can disguise some things and confuse him, throw him off, get some pressure in his face and not let him get into rhythm. I think that's obviously going to be a big key, and that's the strength of this team. I mean, we were all over Joe Burrow, and because I mean it's going to be kind of a night and day thing because Anthony Richardson will most definitely have that escability and be able to get outside the pocket. We kind of had some trouble with Deshaun Watson, rolling out there in Cleveland. So being able to contain Richardson is going to be a huge key, and just letting our offense build on what they did against Cincinnati would be. Is going to be crucial as well, and keeping the momentum going. But yeah, it's the first divisional game. It's the 3rd divisional game for Indianapolis, so that's interesting. They've already had a game against each AFC South opponent, but we'll see. We'll see how we stack up, man.
Absolutely, should be a good one. And then then we're off to London, and then we have a bye week. So, like we've said since the beginning of the year, I think if this team can fight to be 3-3. 4-2, Justin. I don't want to have too much confidence.
Don't give me hell.
But I mean, can you imagine after the 1-2 start the Titans have seen to say that they'd be 4-2 just a few weeks later? I'm not going to say that. Jinx. That's jinx number 6 or 7 here, and then just one video, Justin. But
not good.
It's going to be interesting because, like we've said, through 4 weeks, we don't really know a whole hell of a lot about this Titans team, even though that we're a quarter of the way through a season and we still don't know what to expect week to week. But that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if we can get this win against Indianapolis, I'll almost feel like this is a luxury game or something against Baltimore. And if we win, oh my goodness, 4-2, that's incredible heading into the bye. But if we lose, it's like, oh, well, 3-3. You know, we climbed ourselves out of a bad, it feels like a bad 1-2 hole.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, I guess with time wrapping up here, Justin, I wanted to end on a beautiful positive note that I can't believe we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah.
Let's stop, smell a few flowers, shall we? Derrick Henry has moved into second all-time in franchise history for rushing yards, passing the Tyler Rose himself, Earl Campbell. Derrick Henry has passed a legend, Justin, and he passes a legend who is linked to his playing style, and just it's beautiful to see. And I love after last week, you know, we came on for this Monday show and I said, we really need to cherish our waning moments with Derrick Henry because I feel like it might be over. What does he go and do the next week? 122 rushes, gets in the end zone on a beautiful breaking tackles run, throws a touchdown and passes Earl Campbell on the franchise rushing list. Justin, I don't know if he's going to catch Eddie George this year, but I would love to see it happen.
Bring him back.
We'll see. Yeah, we're going to maybe have to bring him back. But I do want to stop and acknowledge the king for that accolade on his career. So hats off to Derrick.
If only he didn't get hurt 2 years ago, like in October, and miss half the season, he might have gone for both of those guys this year. Or he probably would have already surpassed Earl, but he would have definitely gone for Eddie George's, who has pretty much exactly 10,000 yards. He can do it. If we bring him back, I think he can catch Eddie George. And, man, that would just be such an incredible thing. I mean, Derrick Henry has, he himself has probably inspired a generation of Titans fans. And they're going to be like, oh, I watched Derrick Henry play back in the day. This man made me a Titans fan. I mean, he turns the needle here in Tennessee, and he's one of the best athletes, for sure, to play a professional sport for Nashville or the state of Tennessee. So one of the names, one of the Mount Rushmore Titans, he's got to be. I mean, it's just an incredible career he's paved out here, and it's such a luxury to get to watch him play. So hopefully we can keep it up. Let's not just run him 30 times a game. Let's make him last as long as possible. I love what we're doing with Spears, bringing him in and out. I'm going to go on another tangent, but there's a lot of good things to talk about. A lot of excitement. No Spears.
Absolutely.
Way to pick up that way to fumble that pitch and throw everybody off. I thought that was a great play call.
That was great.
Fumble the pitch and misdirection on the other side. It's a good play. Yeah. I think we did that on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Tim Kelly, little wrinkle in there.
Yeah.
But that was beautifully said, Justin. I mean, it is a pleasure and a privilege to be in this generation of Titans fans. And I love what you said about inspiring a whole new generation of Titans fans, because the Steve and Eddie years are a foregone, a foregone.
That was my generation.
Yeah. This is the new one.
It's Steve and Eddie's fault for being so good early on in the first few years that they made a whole generation, my generation, Titans fans for life. And that has brought me a lot of pain and misfortune. Well, we'll tread lightly with inspiring from Derrick Henry. Hopefully, we can capitalize, bring a Super Bowl one of these years. Hopefully, to town.
Just one before we die, Justin.
That's all I want.
Beautiful way to end the video there. Like, comment, subscribe. I hope the comments are bustling here. I want to hear from Bengals fans. I want to hear from Titans fans. I want to hear what you've learned from this team 4 weeks in, if anything. Maybe you're just dumbfounded and optimistic and are shaking with excitement like we are.
I love it. Absolutely. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah, we'll see you next week. Hopefully, it'll be another winning edition against the Colts. So Colts hate week. Let's start getting energized for that. But yeah, thank you guys. Peace out.
Oh, Jake.